What to do, ladies and dudes? You know who we be. Jabberjaw's in the booth. On the mic is the Vulgar Desperado.
Sinister Diplomat.
And today we're going to give you some first impression reviews of the new live action One Piece. Give you an honest opinion on if it's the same typical live action trash that all anime movies tend to be, or if this one has some potential. But first, you know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Really appreciate it. On the road to 1,000.
Let's go!
Thank you very much. Alright, so if y'all know by now, One Piece, like everything else, for some reason just seems to need to get the live action treatment. And granted, this is just a first episode review, first impression. Probably do a full review later. We just kind of wanted to give some quick initial thoughts here. And from the get-go, I'll be real, it's not too bad. Like, it's One Piece.
It's very watchable.
Yeah, like you can enjoy it.
I don't want to say enjoy it too hard, but you can.
Yeah,
you can get grabbed into it.
You can get a little into it. There's some pros and there's some cons. I think kind of like a lot of things. At best it's kind of mid, but it's not terrible. I think start off with some goods here. Like, it's got good production value. A lot of that is going to come from the CG, but there are some times where it does look kind of cool.
Yep.
They really did. Now, this is going to be a hit or miss depending on your opinion on this, but I'll just levy it right now in the pros, is that they really do just rip it straight from the book. Like, most people in the costume designs and whatever, like it looks like the manga.
It's so on point.
Yeah, it's
what they're
very, very on point. And what other things were good from it?
Personally, I actually think they've done a good job with the casting.
Yeah.
I don't have any ruts so far. I really thought I was gonna
Hey, Luffy.
Yeah, a lot more than I do. It's I feel like the way he's portraying the character is kind of growing.
It's pretty accurate, yeah.
I just don't think it's going. His voice isn't what I think I wanted, but now I'm just like, I don't really care too much about that as much. Got to see more, obviously, with the casting, but I think they've done a great job with that. And
I think Zoro and Nami are pretty well. Were well casted. We haven't seen Usopp yet. Kobe was actually, like I think Kobe was a little bitch made, and he played bitch made well.
Did that good.
But I think you're right. Like, I think the casting is pretty decent. And I mean, like, those are kind of like its strengths. Like, its strengths are in the fact that they're really trying to give you One Piece. And like the fact that they did put some money in the production side, and that comes like in the artistic, approach to it, because it has that like dark kind of like CGI to make it kind of look realistic in certain angles. So so those are good things. Now, the cons on there is, let's start with, like I said, the other side of the coin. It's like, it looks like you're really trying to fucking One Piece. It looks straight up like some cosplay fan made a fan movie, and you're just like, hey man, you could have went to the fucking store, bought a sweater or sweater vest, fucking vest,
man.
And it would look a lot more realistic than like the one y'all stitched together for him. Same thing with his pants. You could have just got this nigga some denim jeans, bro.
Those pants are awful to me.
I'm gonna say
that right now.
And and maybe I'm racist, I don't know, but like Zoro's the only motherfucker that's pulling off the colored hair. All right, Asian. He can rock the green hair. Nami, no, you should have made it realistic red.
Definitely be a darker fucking.
Yeah, bro. Like, you could have got like a Karen Gilliam look, like kind of style, and there's your Nami. Shanks looks like a prostitute with that weird ass hair. It's just not like, it's just dumb. So
worn out prostitute.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, y'all could have just did that realistic. And same thing with, like, again, with some of the clothes. It's like, I get that you're trying to make it look like the book, but it looks like cheap cosplay, whereas like you could have bought or just got something.
I can get that at the thrift store.
Yeah, like you could have got something, like you could have put an outfit together that looked more realistic, and it would just kind of feel a little bit better. And same thing, this kind of extends to like the other side of the coin of the acting of Luffy, because he's acting like Luffy. But the problem with that is, just like with some of these like outfits, some things just don't translate. All right, that is like the biggest problem here. Is like, look, some of these animes don't need live action because they just can't be done in live action. Like,
dude, I think for me, especially with that part of it, like with Luffy's voice in the anime is not all. I feel like it's not monotone, and his voice to me, and I think it's just coming to me now, is there's no real. I feel like
it's
like,
hard to make that. Yeah,
he's trying to be excited, but I can't.
Yeah, you have to have the expressions, and you have to have a very exaggerated, cartoony voice that is really trash in the dub, but really good in the sub, like the actual Japanese. And it's hard to convey that. Now, I'll say the kid's doing his best in that regard, 100%. But that being said, like, you know, part of it is a little like. Not necessarily, like, it's a little cringe at times because you're just like, bro, like, you're acting like you have to act like this cartoon character. I don't know what you're talking about. And, you know, depending on if they tone that shit down, like, the show could be fine because, like, in a way, it's like, yes, okay, you want to see the book, you want to see, like, you know, it translated accurately, but there are some things that just don't translate well, and the way Luffy acts, his facial expressions, like, that shit doesn't translate well, you know? It
does not.
Same thing with, like, the overarching story of One Piece. Like, eventually, it doesn't, like, you can't, like, you can't.
We are not pirates!
Like,
we are gods!
Like, you can't do this, like, you can't do this soon, to be perfectly honest. Like,
what the hell is Lightning Bolt's name?
Enru?
Yeah, Enru.
Yeah,
oh,
bro,
gosh,
like,
bro,
Skypiea, you know, like, eventually One Piece gets, like, it gets wild. And now, I'll be real, if the show wants to go in another direction and they're like, hey, we're just gonna, like, they're gonna still be pirates. They're not
we're gonna make
this Super Saiyan shit, like, they're just gonna be pirates. Like, but the devil's not, they're gonna be pirates. Then maybe the show live action can be fine. But they would just have to acknowledge and embrace that, yeah, we're doing something different, which it may. Even though it does look like they're sticking to the story to an extent. But, like One Piece,
we already got one devil fruit in there.
Yeah, so like One Piece is kind of like, you know, I would say maybe 1 to 2 seasons. Like in like, or in the sense of the sagas, like you could maybe get to Crocodile with Vivi and Alabasta. Like you could maybe do that. Well, but some motherfuckers' powers are just
it gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah, and just even the concepts of it, like
that's when the CG level is going to be at
So
another. So
it's just kind of like, so like I said, like the translation here, the thing that doesn't translate is the end goal. Like your plan was to just do 1 to 2 seasons of like, oh, that one part of One Piece was really tight and it would be sick live action, so let's just do that real quick and just make a quick buck. Okay.
I'm wondering if because I would like more. But I don't know what more of it I want at all. Because again, it does get so.
Because like, yeah, my niggas don't put the sword in the mouth, and you're just like, and you're like, hey, you know, like that's what he does, and that's still tight. But but it's a little much when in real life. And when nigga scooped up the food and ate it, I was like, hey,
there's a full piece sitting right there on the floor right next to it.
Yo, in anime, that's sick. Yo, oh, this is a badass motherfucker.
But in real life,
you're like, hey man, I don't know about all that. Like,
yeah, but
there are a lot of anime mannerisms and behaviors and colloquialisms that just don't translate well to live action. It just kind of looks a little weird and silly sometimes, and like that's because anime, as you already know, it's a very exaggerated art. Like the characters, the attitudes, all of it is to the umpteenth level. You're screaming when you're powering up, like all that shit, the comedy, the crazy faces. So when you do that in live action, it's gonna look a little silly and cringe. Now you can either embrace it and kind of go with it, which this show is kind of doing it. And I'll say, at least for the first episode, in some parts it's not too bad. So maybe they're trying to balance it. We'll see if it gets worse. But you could also just live action something and like be like, and still follow the story and make that humor be more realistic, tone it down, kind of like arch it in a different way and make it work.
Build it up.
Yeah, like it might be a little bit like, you know, more work, but some things like
some things need fucking that work, man. And
yeah, because some things just don't look good in live action. When he's all like, look at my face.
Yeah, I didn't need that. I remember it in the fucking the episodes. Like it is an iconic moment.
And I'm curious how they do it, because sometimes just the way Luffy talks to people, like
but like it's he is so deadpan to me. Like I think that's going to be the weirdest fucking conversation.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious how that we're gonna do. That's what's gonna go, because you can. I mean, like I said, it's likable in Japanese for me, and I can read it and like to be likable. I hate the English version voice of Luffy, I can't stand it there. But like in English, when he's just kind of like very straightforward, it's like nope, just you'd be like, hey man, I don't think anybody would like you ain't talking to me like that.
I'm a head out.
Yeah, you're like, all right, fuck you too, bro. So I mean, like I said, I think the biggest problem is just some things won't translate well. I mean, even the motherfucking axe hand jaw face dude looks a little silly. Yeah,
it looked like a little bit much.
It's like
it's changed that part.
It's just a little bit. It looks like super cosplay, and it's like some people are going to respect that because it's like, hey, this is what it was, and I don't hate that myself either, but that's where I'm just like, okay, well, cause you have to put budgets in mind. You have to be, you have all these things you have to juggle, and sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad. But that's where I'm just like, maybe just go in the more realistic manner, or don't adapt One Piece, because like it's a little difficult. Yeah.
It wasn't something. Again, first impression. This isn't something that I think a lot of people were clamoring for. I don't know that for sure, but first impressions. It looks like something that can grow and be good, but it's definitely not something that I needed to have adapted into a live action.
Well, and I think that's kind of like the good point. Like, will it be good in the end? It could be, but it's definitely not something I ever really needed. I think if it is good, that's cool. But again, like it's weird to have a show that is literally almost designed to have 2 to 3 seasons, and like knowing where One Piece goes. It's like one thing that's like, hey, we made this show to be short and it has no source material, and you're like, what I mean? But now you have a show where you're like, hey man, these niggas start flying and they're like, they're barely pirates, they're just kind of on the water. Like exactly.
The story went from being about them conquering the sea,
so I'm just fucking shooting these fireballs, nigga.
I'm trying to kill this dragon right now, man. This is hard.
Fuck yeah, I'm a pirate hunter. You're a samurai.
Yeah, you have not killed one pirate yet. But I'm just saying.
But it's kind of, I don't know.
You got your ass kicked by a pirate. That's the only thing I've seen.
No, it's kind of funny. Just thinking about like where it could, like what they're trying to do. That being said, I don't think it's the worst live action adaptation I've seen.
Not even close.
I do think the people, like you said earlier, they're acting pretty well. They are sticking to the story generally pretty well. I don't remember the beginning of One Piece it's been so long.
At all.
A lot of stuff. But, I mean, from the familiar stuff that you do see, certain poses, certain arcs, or images, it's not bad. Like, so, I think, it doesn't get much worse than probably Dragon Ball Evolution. But again, I think the some of the artistic styles don't translate, and it just makes things look a little too cosplay-y. A lot of people love the cosplay game out there, but I kind of wish things would, like I said, bro, hit up the fucking
original
Target, get a fucking vest and some shorts, and it would actually just look cooler, because the material would just look more like actual clothing instead of like someone just like knitted this up real quick. But yeah, I don't know. You got anything else?
No, man. First impressions, it looks good. I'm gonna roll with that. It looks good. Hope for the best.
Yeah, you know what, the little in trailer of like here's going on in the season actually made it look a little bit more interesting when they're fighting Arlong and stuff. I was like, oh, that looked kind of cool. Yeah. So I do have some not high hopes, but it does hope for the best. Yeah, it does look good. Okay. It looks okay.
Okay at hopefully not at best. But.
Yeah. But y'all let us know in the comments, what did y'all think? We went a little longer than we wanted to, but let us know.
It is what it is. We're here.
But let us know. Did you like it? It was the same terrible trash as always. Are you gonna give it a shot? Are you gonna watch all of it? Let us know. Please hit that like and subscribe. You know what it is. Jabberjaw's in the booth. Vulgar Desperado.
Sinister Diplomat.
We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.